I'm Adam Apollo, and I'm honored to introduce you to the most integrative, paradigm-challenging, on the bleeding edge of science and 21st century thought, transformational self-mastery academy on the internet. This is the Guardian Alliance. Welcome. Joining to me today are Alexander Fairman.
Hello there.
Night. Welcome, Alex. Thank you so much for being here today. And Alex is also a founder of the SPEAR program, which is a self-mastery and development program for youth in challenging places and situations. He really forges warriors down there. And also joining me today is David Beaudry.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
David is an amazing Qigong teacher. He's a personal trainer, and he's also founder of Universal Heroes. And we're really honored to have David be able to join us today. So today we're going to dive into the Guardian Alliance, and we're going to really look at what it is that we're here, what we're doing, and what we have to share with you. A lot of people have had a lot of questions coming up around what is this thing, and kind of wondering in the mists, you know, what's behind the veils here? Who are these guys? What are they doing? What is this about? And what can we expect from this academy and this community? Well, today we're going to reveal a lot of those secrets, and we also have some pretty exciting announcements and offers to share with you before the end of the video, so I hope you stay with us and stay engaged the whole time. On the main initiation live sessions page, there is a comment feed area where you can log in either with your Facebook account, Google+, Discus, and make comments, and feel free to ask questions. If you have big questions, please put question : and put it in there, because we'll be keeping an eye on that feed and trying to respond as well as we can to the different questions that pop up as we go along. And also, if you'd like to save those comments and keep them as part of your profile within the Guardian Alliance system, you can go to the Gatehouse. You can check out with the free initiation live sessions, or the initiation access key, and that'll get you an account on the site. It'll give you a profile, and it will automatically log you in then for doing comments and things like that. So thank you so much for being here again and for joining us today. So where do we start? We're going to start out by talking about what the fuel was that really birthed the Guardian Alliance, and some of the more kind of technical aspects of why we created this the way we did and what it is that we're going to do with it. You know, one of the major problems that I found in my community and in exploring the world and connecting with different people that are kind of in our tribe is that a lot of the people that I encountered had incredible skills, really amazing real-world skills, and building things and creating things and tantric work and martial arts work and conflict resolution areas, but there's no accreditation for those types of skills. In school, we get accredited for things like, you know, you get basically a degree, a piece of paper after going to college for 4 years that basically tells you and tells the world, hey, this person has a degree in psychology, or this person has a degree in philosophy. But that doesn't actually reflect any of the actual skills that that person has. Even if you have minors, even if you have, you know, went to a technical college and you got a degree in, say, computer engineering, where is the recognition of your daily life skills and the things that you can do and you can provide to your community? Because your community is not necessarily, I mean, they're going to probably want some of your psychology skills if you become a psychology doctor, but maybe you don't. And what about all of the other things that you've learned? What about all of the other incredible skills that you've developed throughout your life? How can you be recognized for those? And how can you know what skills are available in your community? Well, to answer that question, a lot of the new education systems that are emerging right now are following a pattern that's about giving badges. It's about giving a small element of accreditation that's given by an organization, a group of people, or a family of organizations that then says, this person has these skills, they've taken these trainings, and we know that they have some experience in these areas. Well, the Guardian Alliance is one of those academies. And the skills that you're going to learn and you're going to develop in this academy are some of the most bleeding edge sort of out there skills that you might find anywhere on the web. These days it's pretty difficult to just go out and find advanced self-development training in the areas of magic, astral travel, deep level martial arts, qigong, energy circulation, learning how to do advanced levels of conflict resolution, communications processes, and sexual alchemy, opening up your kundalini channels, clearing fields, warding, creating sacred circles, establishing boundaries, creating what you want in your life on a lot of different levels. Um, and so part of what we're here to do is reconnect the threads of some of those skill sets, which are incredibly valuable for day-to-day life, and actually acknowledge people for developing mastery in higher sensory perception, and developing mastery in energetic work, because that kind of recognition will really help them express themselves and be seen more deeply and more presently in their communities. So that's one of the big problems. The other big problem that I've really recognized is that there's not a lot of effective distributed leadership platforms out there that acknowledge people as leaders in their communities as who they are and where they are in the world. So another layer of what it is that we're doing is we're calling forth leadership. We're calling forward the people who are down to be responsible for themselves and for their communities, who want to take a deeper level of responsibility for the quality of life within their relationships in the world and within the relationships of people that are around them. And some of that means stepping up when you see people violating other people's rights. Some of that means being available to people that need healing or need resolution. And there's a lot of other areas that obviously, you can apply those types of skills as a leader. And so we're going to really be cultivating a lot of leadership work throughout this academy as well, and helping people to find the place in themselves where they can step forward, be their fullest self, and really express their truth in what they're doing in the world. Guys, would you like to add anything to that, or express any of the other kind of problems or impetuses that really brought you to the table at the Guardian Alliance?
Yeah, I think that Adam, just thank you for so gracefully orchestrating that and like putting that together, because that's really clear, and why we're doing what we're doing. The education systems of today need additional pieces added to them to really bring out the whole spectrum of human potential. So this is about adding those pieces that are needed. Obviously, if you're going to learn how to read, write, do basic science, that's something that we already have. We don't need that. But it's this higher level development of human potential that we're interested in. And for me personally, it's a lot about building that community as well, of people who are going out there and who are pushing the envelope of whatever it is that they're passionate about and that the world needs, and how we can support one another in that process. So we have, like, I would say, our own community of superheroes that we're all in training together, but a lot of us have learned a good deal already on the path, and we want to share that so we can accelerate everybody's development, so we can really build the beautiful planet that we all want to live on.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the biggest thing is really creating an avenue and support group, because a lot of these teachings are hard to find, are hard to come by, and how do we actually know and feel a resonance with the teachings, And so I can reach out to somebody that I actually know and connected with and communicated with and trust where they're coming from, and find a way to unleash my own potential, and then through my own experiences and unlocking that creative capacity, like, wow, like now I want to share and help support. So I see it as a really amazing network for both people who are just beginning the path, and then people who are also advanced along the path with other gifts to share.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so a lot of what we're here to do is bring together these teachers that have amazing courses to offer, and we have a huge community of those people, and There is a beautiful group of teachers that are currently, hopefully now, watching this live session and joining us, but that are working on courses that will be released mostly in Ring 2, some of which possibly will be collaborating in Ring 1. And those courses will probably mostly be opening up this summer because they're putting a lot of time into really cultivating and creating some incredible experiences for you guys as we go forward. And we want to have a lot of rich courses and material for people to take during the summer, because especially in the summertime, there's lots of festivals, there are lots of things going on, people are traveling, and it's a really important time to stay on point and stay on your game and really be able to show up in the world. So we're going to do our best to support everyone who's a part of the Academy this summer through amazing courses that we're going to release then. And we also want to build this community that's really dedicated to planetary transformation, self-mastery, and restoring the earth, restoring the state of peace, and restoring a greater sense of harmony and community on a global level. It's certainly a time right now when we're really seeing the sickness, you know, in the collective, and we're really seeing the sort of control dramas playing themselves out, especially within governments and nation states and large-scale corporations. And those of us who are aware of other patterns and other ways to live and other ways to treat people and to display leadership really are called right now to step forward and to share those gifts and say, actually, there's a better way to lead, and it's like this, and it is about freedom, and it is about sovereignty, and it is about trusting in people, and it is about recognizing that every single person in this world has a gift inside of them. And if we don't support every individual in giving their deepest gift and being who they are, then we're just making robots. You know, we're just making clone soldiers. We're just copy and pasting. And the truth is there's so much amazing creativity and wealth within this world and within every person in this world. And for us, you know, individually, like, our challenge is actually supporting each other and helping each other to step up and really share those gifts. So that's some of what we're doing here. And also just want you to know that this academy is not isolated. It's a part of a growing accredited network of academies. And if you go to the Gatehouse and you check out and you get one of the access keys, one of the things you're going to notice is that you're checking out through PayPal and it says Superluminal Academy Network. Well, that's because we already have one academy up and online. It's the Resonance Academy, which some of you are actually here because you've explored that academy in the Delegate Level 1 program, which I co-authored and helped to build that whole system. We also have a Visionary Arts Academy that's going to be opening later this year. And there's other academies potentially in the works. And these are part of a network that we're building. That's the internal side of it, but there's an external side as well that we'll be cultivating with our partners at Thrive and other places, and looking at how we can basically accredit the different badges and different skill seals and things like that people will earn from the different academies, and hold that within this group of different academies and organizations that all of these people validate these skills and these different approaches to life. And then hopefully we can get some university accreditation and things like that as well to support people in other types of education. So that's all coming up, and that's all really good stuff, and I'm excited to announce more about that when it's time. And for now, let's dive in and let's ask if, address some of the questions that people have brought up on the site. I want to just really thank everybody who's come into the site in the past couple weeks. It's a baby, as I've said before, so it's just getting on its feet. There's new pages still coming in all the time, and we're still fixing little bugs here and there, and identifying those, and you as our sort of pilot users, the people who have jumped in here right off the top are really, are really helping us to explore and discover all the edges of the structure that we've built. So thank you so much for your feedback, for letting us know if you run into bugs, problems, and please be patient with us because we will address them as quick as we can and be on that and try to give you the best experience on the site that you possibly can. So one of the big questions that's arisen in the past week is, well, all right, so who are these guys and how's this money thing work? And if you guys are charging all this money for courses, like where does that money go? Is it all going in Adam Apollo's pocket? Is he like shuffling some off to his buddies? Like what's the deal and how's this working? Well, I want to be really clear about that. I built this academy, and one of the fundamental principles that I built into this academy is that 70% of every course, for as long as it exists, will immediately go to whoever the teacher is that spent hundreds or sometimes thousands of hours creating a course, creating the media for it, developing it, and that's right off the top. And the reason that we're using PayPal to check out is because we built in the adaptive payments system. And for those of you that are familiar with this, what it enables us to do is instantly, the moment you buy somebody's course on the site, 70% goes to the teacher instantly right then. 20% of that goes to the administrative team, which is myself, and these guys are going to help with that, and we have some other social media and development team that's forming. And mostly that group is getting paid to basically produce the courses on the site and administer student services and things like that. We have a wonderful support team of a few lovely ladies that are going to be coming in to be offering energetic support to students going through the program, because a lot of the skills that we're going to be teaching you are really transformative. They're going to shift you, they're going to shift your mind and your consciousness to new levels, and you may have stuff come up. So we want to provide a lot of support to you in that, and we also want to provide some really wonderful counselors that we've tested and we have experience with, who can support you in that process. So that's 90%, 70 to the teacher, 20 to admin, 10% then goes into infrastructure. So the remaining 10% covers hosting, which honestly, when you start getting hundreds to thousands of people on the site, you're talking about thousands of dollars a month hosting. So we have to, really keep income flowing in to be able to support that infrastructure end of things. So I hope that answers some of you guys' questions around the income and the finances of the Guardian Alliance. I created a principles page, which is now in the submenu under orientation, which will give you a lot of a bigger picture of all the principles of the Guardian Alliance, what we stand for, how we choose to work in the world, and what we invite you to take on and work within as being part of this community. All right, so another layer that I wanted to talk about a little bit is the structure of ongoing courses. So some of you have heard a tale of this Ring 1 coming out, and I've put out this initiation course with these lovely gentlemen, and you're able to take that course for free right now. If you go to the Gatehouse, you check out with the initiation access key, you can get right into the initiation course, and you can explore it, go through, mark complete, and you'll learn a lot about the Guardian Alliance and about what it is we're doing through that course. But coming up, and will be released in April, is the Ring 1 courses. And the Ring 1 courses are going to dive a lot deeper. They're going to get into the specifics of the archetypes. They're going to really jump in and give you very, very applicable life skills in each of these different areas, and challenge you to practice those life skills and take them out into the world. And so the structure that we've got set up for these courses is, Ring 1 is sort of like the first stage of really applying these different superhero abilities and challenging yourself to really step in to the gifts that you have in this life. And then you're going to go into ring 2, and you might remember back in the day there was a Zorro movie. It was The Legend of Zorro with Antonio Banderas, and he goes and he ends up meeting the old Zorro, because Zorro is actually this timeless, eternal character, because he's actually, passing the lineage down each stage as the challenges arise in the next period of time. And so he meets the old Master Zorro, and the Master Zorro takes him in to train him because he's kind of like drunk and stupid and just hasn't got it figured out yet. And he brings him into this cave, and in the cave there's this beautiful platform, stone platforms expanding out. And on the platforms there's rings, and these are the mastery rings. And so when you start out, you're in a small ring. You have only this much, space to work, to move, to understand yourself, to see the world. But as you develop your mastery, you expand your field, you expand your level of influence, you expand your ability to respond to the world. And so in the Guardian Alliance, as you go up in the rings, you're expanding your level of presence, you're expanding your level of skills, you're expanding your work in the world, and you're seeing yourself from more angles of the ring. And this is also, a lot of what it is that we're doing is we're not just training people in single tracks to go out on a journey, become a warrior, get stronger and stronger and stronger, and become like the biggest, buffest, most awesome martial artist warrior out there. We're actually trying to enable people to see that to become a great warrior, you must integrate the other aspects of yourself. You got to become a healer. You got to become an ambassador and learn how to share and speak about your skills. You got to become a weaver and learn how to integrate the energy inside your body, integrate it into your sex, integrate it into your love life, bring it through your wizardship, learn how to think and structure and strategize and use wisdom and intelligence to take your actions. Bring it into your Starwalker self and learn how to see past what you don't know yet. Learn how to catch the edges of yourself and leap past them. So that a lot of what we're doing is creating these rings of mastery, where an individual will, through exploration of what their strengths are and also exploring their weaknesses, they can come full circle and come to really embody a deeper and more potent layer of themselves and their personal mastery. Gentlemen, would you like to add anything to that?
I think that was a really good overview of what's happening and how we're training full spectrum individuals who have tapped into and developed the different aspects of the psyche, which ultimately, it's said that as you strengthen any one of these areas, it will strengthen the others as well. So as you learn to become a better warrior, you'll notice that you have more energy, and that energy will then enhance your abilities when you're out there in business and when you're out there in your relationships. You'll have more vitality, right? Cultivation of like that raw physical vitality. Or, for example, as you become a better ambassador and your speaking and your communication abilities grow, you'll notice that your relationships will improve. You'll notice that your ability to connect to people will improve. So as you develop any one of these 6 areas, the others will naturally benefit from it.
And also, I think a big piece is around learning how to be soft and accepting of the gifts that you already have, and really understanding that these are just guideposts to what's already innately within you. So it's not about becoming someone better or more improved. It's about learning how to discover these deep gifts. Sometimes they may appear as shadows or fears or just unrepressed aspects of yourself that you're then bringing light to, bringing awareness to. And then you become a more fully embodied and integrated person. You're not trying to repress anything and become a superhero. You already are a hero inside of you, and just gently unleashing that capacity that's already within you. You don't got to be someone new or different.
Mm-hmm. Well said, David. Thank you. Yeah. So what is it specifically that you can expect from the Guardian Alliance courses? I mentioned, briefly earlier in the call, just sort of stream of consciousness, some of the types of skills and things like that that we're going to be teaching and that you can develop through this academy. But I also want to speak more specifically to some of it. And to do that, I'm going to reference the curriculum map, which is you can find it under the trail map. There's now a link inside the top of the trail map that, if you want to get more specific with some of the types of lessons, click on the curriculum map. The curriculum map is a very loose structure which is designed to basically showcase some of the different major topic areas within the different archetypes that we have material and course material that we're developing around to release into the courses. So I'm just going to mention a few of the things that are in this list just to give you guys, just to give you a deeper sense, a little bit of what some of the types of courses are that we'll be sharing in some of these archetypes. And we'll also get more specific a little bit later around Ring 1 and exactly what to expect from Ring 1. So in the warrior archetype, we're going to be doing strength building, agility practices. We're going to introduce people to internal energetic practices like Tai Chi, Qigong, nourishing the 3 centers and central channel, what the difference is between Jing, Qi, and Shen, activation of the Laogong, bubbling spring points, and Bai Hui. We'll be introducing Aikido, energy body layers, physical leadership, and some of the things like that. In the Weaver course, we're going to deal a lot with alchemy and sexual alchemy and the interactions between yin and yang and the masculine and feminine. We'll also be teaching a lot about breath work, different types of breath work, different types of locks you can do to move, activate breath, and move breath through your body. We'll be dealing with emotional freedom techniques, sexual polarity, balancing, multi-orgasmic work, partner alchemy, harnessing the Jing, and a lot more beyond that, awakening Kundalini and riding the serpent. In the wizard path, you can learn about the mind and all of the structures of the mind and the ways that the mind can create different containers to shape your reality. And that includes being able to see and feel and work with different types of energy, understanding magical histories in cultures all over the world, from Druids to Egyptians, Kabbalah, Taoism, Lakota, even in Christianity, old magical traditions that exist within that tradition. Understanding the chakras and the different realms, from the gross, etheric, and astral planes, different types of magic, from geomancy to transmutation, evocation, abjuration, and actually doing and developing different types of spells or creative energies within your life that you sculpt, that you change in order to create certain very specific effects in your world and in your reality or in your business or in your personal life, whatever it is that you would like to apply it to. In the healing space, we'll be really getting into the depth of the deeper level of connection that makes us who we are and brings us into our central pillar of health and well-being in the world. So to do that, we're going to explore even deeper the central pillar and chakras. We'll be understanding the different bodies and get into energy work, energetic medicine, and energy healing. We'll also get into very specific tools of healing, using massage, using different techniques that you can use on the street, anywhere, without medicine, without having any external tools, just yourself engaging with people. And we'll also be teaching how to work with certain kinds of tools, like flower essences and oils and different types of medicines and things like that. And all the way to like a very advanced, distance healing and things like that as well. So there's an exciting track for the healers. In the ambassador field, we will be teaching about language arts and accents and shaping your sound and your voice and working with your word and the power of your word to make changes in yourself and in the world. How to test coherence with people, the basics of conflict resolution and leadership, business development and how to shape and craft a business and craft a plan and lead people to fulfillment of that plan. And then in the Starwalker field, we'll be opening up understanding what truth is, understanding imagination, and understanding our deeper layers of higher sensory perception. Within the Starwalker field, we will practically be teaching astral travel, different skills and techniques for remote viewing, how to do lucid dreaming, and a variety of techniques for engaging with lucid dreaming and working with it to improve your life, or improve your character, and increase your capacities within the world. We'll also be opening up and unlocking the doors to understanding our greater relationship within the universe. Who's out there? Who's our galactic family? Like, who are the spirits that are around us in the world? And the Starwalker path will definitely be probably walking further out on the edge than, you know, probably any courses that you've ever seen online. So I'm very excited to share in those fields and really excited to have many of the teachers that are coming in. Go ahead, Alex or David.
You laid it out really well.
Looks like we got an echo there, Alex. Maybe you guys can mute real quick. We'll test that where the check. It looks like it's yours. Dave. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, got that echo taken care of. Maybe grab a headset, David, and we'll bring you back in and unmute you just as soon as we can here in the next section. Technical difficulties, everyone. So that's a little bit of the curriculum map. Feel free to explore that page and dive into it more. There is more than that. That's really just a draft of some of what's there and some of what's laid out. As other teachers within the Guardian Alliance submit their full, you know, course layouts and things like that, we're going to add to the curriculum map, and we'll be adding to the elements on there because there's a lot of other people with incredible material to add into all of those spaces and into the cross-pollinating spaces, because as you get into Ring 2 and Ring 3, it's not so defined anymore whether a course is a warrior course or a weaver course or a wizard course. It's clear that all of these archetypes interpenetrate and interconnect. So while one course may be, you know, very strongly focused in the warrior field, another might be applying skills that you've developed in the warrior field to the weaver area or to the wizard area, or to different aspects of our lives. And again, I'm just using these terms, these archetypal terms, the warrior, the weaver, the wizard, to basically help you understand that these are just qualities of energy in ourselves. They're not boxes that you stick yourself in. You're not one or the other. These are aspects of who we are. And we're trying to bring out these innate aspects of who we are so that you can more fully, you know, feel yourself and the wholeness that you are and express yourself and the gifts that you have to share here in the world. David or Alex, would you guys like to add anything to that?
I think that was really, like I said, that was well said. That's clear. It goes over it. People probably now have listening. You probably have a sense of a lot of what we're going to cover. And yeah, like Adam said, there's going to be a lot more content that comes in based on the trainers who are going to be creating the additional courses. And I think, yeah, David, do you have anything you want to add?
No, it's all crystal clear.
Awesome.
Great. Well, then I'll go ahead and address some more questions here. I'd love it if anybody who has taken the initiation course and that has any questions about that course, if there's anything that came up for you, anything that you'd like to share, anything that that, you know, has just been on your mind that you want to ask about, please post it on the discussion board, and I'd love to address some of those questions today, because that, that's part of really what we're here to do today, is do some Q&A around initiation, and then also talk a little bit more about Ring 1, share some of our experiences that are going into our cultivation of the Ring 1 courses, and make some announcements about Ring 1 and its availability. So if there's any questions on the initiation course, please let me know. We'll see if any comments coming in here. We do have a technical logical question from Boo. Hi Boo, good to see you here. Boo is an emissary of the Resonance Project, and just been amazing support for students over in the Resonance Academy. Thank you so much, Boo, for all of your great work in the world. And Boo asks, if one purchases a single module, like let's say you sign up for the Warrior courses in Ring 1, will you have access to all the other teachings later? And so to answer that question, Boo, yes, absolutely, but we're only going to open the gates to sell certain access keys. So like, for example, and this might be jumping ahead a little bit, but I'll go ahead and just let you guys know that right now in the Gatehouse you can get access keys to any of the courses in Ring 1. You can get a Mastery key that unlocks the whole ring. You can get a Yin or a Yang key, and those access trinities of the courses. And you can also get any individual module, as Boo's asking about. So if she gets Starwalker now, those access keys are only going to be available at their current rate that they're at right now for this week. And I'm doing this as like an early pre-access, pre-registration sale, mostly just to support and to honor all of the amazing people who are coming in right now to support this work. I want to give them the best deal I can. I want to really, I really want to support you guys and give this to you, at a level that is very affordable and very easy to make a decision to join. It's not going to be necessarily the same price later. So if you get the Starwalker now and you wait until in March when we do a closer release before the Ring 1 opens, the price is probably going to go up on some of those modules a little bit, but you can always still be able to get into them later. And as we open up Ring 2 and as we go into the summer, the Ring 1 courses are just, the access keys will be just more open and fully available. They're just going to cost more, and we're doing that so that we can continue to support and backfeed support teachers as we're putting all of this work in and hundreds of hours into developing the next courses. And part of the intention for this is really to make it support the teachers and support our community to an extent where we can really give ourselves to doing this teaching and this leadership work, and to creating the activities that will actually, and the projects that will actually really make a difference in the world right now. So I hope that answers your question. As far as payment plans go, you can, if you have a PayPal account, you can easily do a bill me later setup. So you can, when you go to checkout, you just you sign in with your PayPal account, you ask it to bill you later, and you can through that you can actually make payments over time on anything that you buy with PayPal. We'll also be opening up some scholarship opportunities. If you're interested in that now, then you should basically let me know and make a post about it. Like if, for example, this week you'd love to get access to some of these courses, but you don't have access fee, then I'm sorry, there's an echo again, and so David, I'm wondering if you could just mute again. Testing 1 2 3. Yeah, for some reason your headset's not doing the thing. David, you might want to just drop off and come back on, and that might work. Maybe it's just a Google glitch. I've seen it happen before.
Or David, what you might want to do is mute your microphone when you're not talking. That should solve it as well, yeah? Or do you think it's a Google thing?
Yeah, that might solve it. We can try that. Just stay muted, and then we'll unmute you as soon as you talk. All right. So yeah, so anyway, if you want to participate in the Ring 1 courses and you want to jump in now, but you're having a hard time making the decision because things are just tight, you're having a difficult time, just message me through the site, and when we have the form up, I'll send you the form and make it available for you to sign up as one of the people trying to get a scholarship for that. So, and we'll do our best to make that available as soon as we can. And let's see, just looking through, and so Robin Tala, thanks for joining us today. Asked when will the Ring 1 courses be available? So those courses are going to open up in April, and when we open up the Ring 1 courses, because there's going to be 6 whole archetypes that we open up, we're going to open up all the gates at the same time. What we're going to do is we're going to do a live session each week that's focused on one of those 6 archetypes. So we'll have a calendar up so that displays basically when we're going to do the session on each one, and we'll spend a good portion of the time during each of those live sessions fully focusing just on that archetype, on that course, on the skills, the practices, and the questions that people have arising within those sections. And then we'll also spend some time just covering general questions and questions from other archetypes as well. So we'll be doing a whole series of live sessions around the different archetypes at that time, starting in April. So that's a great question. David or Alex, if there's any questions that you guys see on the board that you want to address, please just let me know.
Yeah, I think we had a comment from James. Thanks for joining us. James was asking us, he's said, there are certain things that are already known by us, like basic math and reading that people should know. But he said that's maybe a part of the problem because, for example, he gave the example that some people might not be ready to jump directly into a theoretical physics lecture. Totally understand that. And so how are we going to set it up so that people are starting out at a layer that they can master and that they are ready for? James, that's really the purpose of the rings, so that as you go through the courses, everything in ring, starting with the introductory course, is assuming that you're starting, like, we just want to give you the basics, the foundations, what's going on the planet right now, what are these archetypes we're talking about, the foundations. And ring 1 is also for someone who is just learning what this archetype even looks like and how does it apply in the world. Who are the people who have developed this skill in the world, who are like the legends of it, and then how can you apply it? What are the practices? What are the techniques? What are the skills? And how can you apply this in your everyday life? So that's kind of the structure of it. So it'll start you off. Ring 1 is like basic training for each archetype. Ring 2 is where you're going to get more complex content that's going to be more in-depth that someone shouldn't start out with, which is why it's important to do Ring 1 before Ring 2. So that's how we're setting it up.
Right. Well said, Alex. And yeah, Ring 2 courses, which will be opening in the summer, will require Ring 1 prerequisites. So you have to have taken the Ring 1 Warrior course to get to Ring 2 Warrior courses. And we're doing that because it helps you to structure and to approach what's going on in Ring 2, and the teachers that are creating Ring 2 courses are reading and taking Ring 1 courses, so that we're shaping the pathway that you follow as you're growing and you're learning in the Guardian Alliance. And we'll do our best to do context setting along the way. The thing is for myself and for these gentlemen here on the call with me, Alex and David, we've had a lifetime or lifetimes of context setting, and it really takes a lot of experience in your life to really help you understand what is true and what is most valuable and what is most important. And so, we can't expect anybody to just come in and off the bat immediately know the value of a certain practice, or immediately get the fact that that this doing this one thing could totally change their lives. You can't just accept that offhand. You have to actually engage with it. You have to actually practice it. You have to actually go into it and be willing to explore it in yourself, so that you can get to the truth of what it really is and what it means for you as an individual. So one of the things that I really want to do today is I would love for Alex and David each to share some of their experiences with some of the archetypes, because for us, it's been our lives and the different periods of our lives. And I'll just say as an introduction for myself, I had different whole years of my life where certain experiences were just really coming in, and I was really being challenged in certain areas and having to grow in certain areas and develop certain skills to be able to deal with the realizations I was having, the life situations coming in, and the things that I had to work with in my life. And those fields, those periods of time were really cultivations of specific aspects of my energy body, and thus very specific cultivation of different archetypes inside of me. And so I'd love for the gentleman with me here just to share a little bit about some of their experiences there, and I'll share some as well. Alex.
All right, let's rock and roll. So again, thanks for being with us. And what I'd like to share with you all today is the second of the 6 archetypes we're working with, and that's the Weaver. And this has been very important to me in my life because it started out as the archetype I was one of the weakest in when I grew up. And as I've grown older, my weaknesses have become my strengths. And that's the process I found is true for many of us, that our greatest gifts are hidden in that thing that when we first grew up, or even for most of our lives, we've been insecure about, we haven't known how to approach. It's been something we don't want to look at even, and it's difficult. But in that, bringing that forward has increased the power that I have to affect change in the world and within myself incredibly. So I want to talk about the Weaver and tell you a little bit about what the Weaver is all about and how this applies in today's world. So the Weaver is like, if the 6 archetypes are like a team, right? The Weaver, the second one, is like, plays a very specific role as a connector and as a master of emotions. Think of the Weaver as the person who keeps everyone's vibration high, energy high, emotions high. The Weaver is a shyness buster, an isolation healer, and the Weaver is like the sworn enemy of depression and emotional darkness, right? So the Weaver is like constantly putting out positive energy, but they're not giving it away. They're cultivating it within themselves, and that is having a ripple effect so that all the other members of the team are feeling that. All the other members of your family are feeling that. All your coworkers are feeling that positive energy. So the Weavers are called to be conscious of emotions within themselves and others, and they learn to artfully work to produce a positive emotional state and induce an atmosphere of fun around them. So Weavers first learn to be in control of themselves and to elicit positive emotions within. Now, there's a lot of natural Weavers out there who don't know mentally what they're doing, but they are the people who have this positivity about them. It radiates. They're the life of the party. They're the fun people you want to be around. Most of them aren't even conscious that they're that or what they're doing, but it's just something natural. And all these archetypes are natural archetypes, by the way. Like, we're just bringing consciousness to something that's already going on. So anyways, the Weavers make charisma their science, right? And most of them start out unconscious of their natural abilities. And so as a result, like, for example, let me just tell you the longing of the Weaver when they're just getting born is that they have a longing for connection. And for me, when I was growing up in school, I wanted to connect to people. I wanted to be a part of the action. I wanted to have a lot of friends, but I didn't have the support necessarily to know how to do that. And it was a difficult thing for me to learn how to connect and share my emotions transparently and to be that fun. So I actually shifted away from that, isolated myself more, and worked on my wizard and got mental mastery and my ambassador. I learned how to communicate through a lot of different mediums. But basically, as I started moving schools when I was growing up, I started having to develop my Weaver because I would have no friends if I didn't. And throughout my life, working in different industries and starting companies and doing these things, you have to become a Weaver in order to create connection between people, because that's how business happens, that's how relationship happens. So on the development of the Weaver, right, you start out unconscious, and usually Weavers also is about connecting to empathy. Yeah, so weavers feel other people's emotions. And at a lower level, weavers are often brought down by people around them because they're empathic without knowing it. So your parents will bring you down, some person you might even meet on the street will give you a weird look, say something negative to you, and it'll literally drop your emotional state because you haven't learned how to have the self-mastery to manage your emotional state, which is part of the real power of a great weaver. But as you become higher level as a weaver, you learn to protect your energy from being affected by others. And at the highest level, a master weaver can actually cleverly shift others out of their emotional darkness without other people even knowing what they're doing. So using things like suggestion, hypnosis, self-hypnosis, and good old-fashioned humor and fun, you can create this positive energy in everyone who's around you and remind them of this fundamental truth that our lives are good and this is awesome. So a couple other small points about the weaver is that the weavers, it's all about how something is done or said. It's about the how. It's not about what you're doing. For example, a skilled weaver, is going to go up and talk to somebody and ask him for a favor. And a skilled warrior is going to go and talk to somebody and ask him for a favor. Who do you think is actually going to have better results? The warrior will go up and do something and say something like, hey, what's going on? Da, 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 da. I'm working on this. Can you help me? Now, if that person is already in close connection with you, yeah, they'll probably help you. But if that person doesn't know you, that person's going to be like, why should I help you? I don't know you. Like, you're coming at me like you want me to do something as if I have to respond to you. I have no responsibility to respond to you. But the weaver is going to come up and get to know the person, is going to connect with them emotionally and read, okay, where's their emotional state at right now? The weaver is going to say, how can I build a bond to this person? How can I get to know this person? And after all that is done, the weaver is going to be like, hey, I need your help with something. How likely do you think it is compared to the warrior that the person's probably going to do and help the weaver with what they need? So this is a big part of the social emotional skill set that is inherent within the human condition. And by developing your weaver, you'll develop that skill set. So for me now in my life, after many years of like going through all this stuff and putting myself in situations where I had to meet people and had to learn people and traveling around the planet and learning a bunch of this stuff, my whole perspective is different. And when you get to that place, there's an incredible power that flows out of you when you walk into a room where you can feel everyone in the room. You can sense the emotional states. You can sense a lot of information about people, and you know who to connect to. You can read situations, and you're welcomed, and you have this energy that brings people up. And this is obviously, you can see how this is so important for every aspect of your life and every goal that you're going to have. And how this is also, I'd say, an archetype that's somewhat underdeveloped today, because we don't place a lot of value on our relationships and our social life is, in terms of people today are often very productive in developed societies, and productivity and work is like a big value, but the social emotional training isn't really given to us. So we're going to be, in the Weaver courses, we're going to be going through a lot of that inner emotional mastery, how to cultivate states, how to elicit states, and then how to interact with others in a way that can create incredible relationships and results in whatever your goals are, and does it in a way that is fun, because it's all about having fun.
Right on. Excellent, Alex, and so well said. Thank you so much. I was just being kind of thrown back into just memories in high school and college and, you know, middle school especially. Like, you know, that's that gestating period where, you know, you're really struggling for that self-definition, and you're, you know, very permeable. And I was a really weak weaver, I would say, at that period of time. I was a very emotional kid, and I'd been through a lot of trauma, and had just a really hard time sharing myself with people, and showing up and you know, lifting the vibe, so to speak. And but becoming aware of my energy field when I was a freshman in college, that changed everything, because then it was like, oh my God, it's all just energy, and I can just change the energy. I can change the vibration in myself, and all of a sudden it changes for everybody else too. And they feel me differently. They receive me differently. And I realized I could just feel the energy in other people, and then actually work with and relate with other people based on how their energy feels, their vibe, their vibration. Um,
Totally, and that's a really good example too of how one archetype complements another. Because I'm knowing you, I'm betting that part of that awareness came from your wizardry training and maybe your Starwalker training, your practices that gave you that level of awareness to then take it into the Weaver. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, certainly. I was definitely sort of a reclusive wizard when I was in when I was in middle school and starting out in high school. I would basically stay home a lot, and when I was a freshman, before I had this awakening, most nights I'd go home, I'd get on the internet, and I'd study how to pick locks, how to turn on and off cable systems on people's houses, how to hack computers, how to I was just developing a whole set of superhero skills in the internet and the digital technology realm, which then served me a lot because as I actually started opening up as a weaver and in my art class, my teacher accidentally lost the key to her drawers and she can't get in it to get some really important stuff. I go over there and I pick the lock for them.
Oh, so you use your power for good.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. That's it. And you have a choice. I mean, that's the thing with what we're training is that you're going to have a choice. Certainly, a martial artist or a good warrior is going to be able to go out there and just crush people. And it's going to be up to your development of the other sides of yourself so that you know how to employ that power in the right ways.
Yep, exactly. So, David, would you like to share with us? Hopefully your feed is
Yes,
good.
I would love to. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. Thanks, Alex. That was amazing. I was so inspired by your sharing. And there's a lot of crossover with the Weaver and the Healer. I'm gonna be sharing about my process initially as a warrior and learning about my physicality and going through this process of self-healing is what allowed me now to work with people as a medical qigong practitioner, therapist, and healer, which I never would have guessed, starting out. So as a kid, I had, some of you may have had traumatic experiences or work with depression or these types of things, and a lot of people don't know that that's because you're highly intuitive or highly sensitive or highly empathic. So I was feeling people or other people's energies, and I didn't even know exactly what was going on. So I began to take on certain energies from my mother or my father that I didn't really understand, So my first avenue was creating a physical sense of self, this is me, this is you, So through body mastery, I began to start to feel when energy, specifically emotions, would come into my being, and I was like, wow, this actually isn't my anger, or this voice in my head, that's not mine. This is an overlay from maybe a relationship, a person, a teacher, and it wasn't until actually graduating college and discovering qigong that I began to work with this energy. And a big part was learning how to trust myself, trust my instincts, and feel. So some of you may already be very sensitive or have a big heart and really want to share and give. And there's the flip side of not feeling worthy, not feeling like you're enough, not feeling like you're okay, because there's not a lot of feedback in our society. Our society places so much energy on productivity and mental mastery and creating. So if we're looking at the Western society in general, it's a very yang or very fire energy, right? Whereas if you look at a lot of the Eastern traditions, where a lot of these healing modalities really integrate the body, integrate that the root of healing comes from healing the emotional body, healing the fracture, healing the trauma, and a lot of it comes down to forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving the person, forgiving the situation, or forgiving God, And in our society, we often look externally or put blame on someone or something. And the real path I've learned as a healer is learning how to trust and love myself. So these two pillars of self-acceptance, self-love is the hallmark of really accessing your deeper wisdom and your deep listening capacity, because people are in pain, people are suffering, and if you've gone through this path, no matter what it's looked like, it's part of your inherent gift to help and share others who are in this situation. One of the statistics now, about 50% of Americans are depressed, which is astronomical, and it shows us that we've lost our connection to our deep inner nature. And instead of learning how to love and accept our gifts and our capacities, we're always looking outside. Oh, am I okay? Am I going to be good enough? Do I have, there's all this energy that we're now learning how to cycle back in. And so that empathic nature that every person has naturally becomes kind of closed off because we're told, okay, it's not okay, it's not safe. Your emotions, you're taught to stuff them and not feel them or express them. And so this quality of understanding comes from first feeling all of your emotions that you have and learning how to work with them. And in my training in Chinese medicine, each organ has a specific energetic or emotional component. So, for instance, if you are hanging out with a friend and all of a sudden you're like, man, the left side of my belly is kind of aching. What's up with that? And that's like the spleen stomach. That's where if you're feeling worry or you're overthinking. So if you come in and feel like, oh, that wasn't there before. What's going on? You might have an empathic nature that you don't even know about. So like, oh, maybe this person might be worried about something. Maybe they're overthinking. Maybe they're stressed. Or like the right side, which is the liver. If maybe you get a pain there, that's where the energy for blood and chi is stored. And it's also, if we're not creating proper boundaries, for instance, anger we always think of as a bad thing, but anger expressed appropriately is actually setting clear boundaries. Hey, this is my space. I love you. Thank you. This is your space. So if you're like, oh man, maybe I got some discomfort here. Perhaps you're not creating boundaries in your relationships. So these are just a couple examples. So there's many ways that you may experience intuitive knowledge. It may be a very, very physical thing. Like for me, it's very tactile and sensational. For others, it may just be an emotion. You may just kind of pick up on some sadness or some joy, right? So that's where in the healer path, we're really going to learn how to create proper boundaries and learn how to cleanse ourselves first, cleanse our minds, cleanse our heart, cleanse our organs, and come to a state of homeostasis and balance. So you're not creating from this sense of anger or lack or limitation, right? And so you can look at your entire reality as a feedback mechanism for the areas that you are needing to heal for yourself. If you keep bringing angry people into your life, it's a sign. It's telling you something, Or if all of a sudden you're like, wow, my life is beautiful. I'm really starting to meet some really loving, grounded people. Okay, cool. Like that something's starting to shift in your being, and then there's no more trigger. You won't feel that sticky, energetic tie because you will have come to terms with that in yourself and learn to accept it and be whole. So as we dive into the healer, it's really a journey inward, and that way we can express outwardly from this place of calm, and calm being something that is not like forced. Oh my gosh, I'm getting angry. Okay, I gotta calm down. No. It's feeling these emotions as signposts for your life and learning how to work with them in a way that's not repressing your nature or your core. So I'm feel so blessed to be on this journey with all of you and to share some of what I've learned in dealing with depression and self-doubt and all these things that now I feel ready to help others in. So thank you.
Thank you, David. Well spoken. And yeah, for myself, I'm currently in the day 5 of a colon cleanse, Blessed Herbs colon cleanse, and so it's really good to just like be refreshing and cleansing your body, and it can be challenging. It can be like uncomfortable and painful, and but the beauty is that when you feel the stuff come up in your body and you feel areas where things are getting moved and blockages are opening up, you can feel the stored up emotion that's connected to that part of your body, and so you'll spontaneously just feel the emotion releasing as your body's letting go of something um, that's been blocking or more intense inside your being. So thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, so for me, I want to talk a little bit about the Starwalker path for me, because that the transition into the Starwalker was probably one of the most challenging passages that I've had in my life. And early on, I was given different keys to eventually be able to open that. I had my stepmother, my dad's wife after my mom, was an incredible woman. She dedicated her life to teaching people about divine love. And my dad met her actually as she was passing out blankets to homeless people on the side of a street in the middle of Texas. And he gave her a ride, and they fell in love. And as I got to know this woman, I realized she was not like most other people. She was just incredibly intuitive, incredibly empathic, and very, very psychic. She was so psychic, in fact, that when we moved to Philadelphia and we were looking for a place to live, we came across this newspaper article, and it was about this family that had been murdered by the husband in the family. The man in the family had literally killed his wife and his kids, like all of them. She looks at this article and she's like, "Oh my God, take me to the police station right now." And so we go to the police station, and she wants to talk to the officer in charge, or the sergeant in charge of the case. And she ends up talking to this detective guy, and she says, "I know where he is. He's in Florida. He's driving this car. It was like a teal convertible or something, and this license plate, and he's at this hotel, and you'll be able to pick him up here tomorrow." And the officer is sitting back there, and he's looking, and he's like, "Excuse me? Like, who are you? Like, how do you know this?" She's like, "None of that matters. Do you want to catch him or not? He's at that hotel, and you'll be able to find him there tomorrow. I just know these things. I have angels." And the officer's like, "Okay." She's like, "Write it down." So he, all right, writes it down. Sure enough, the police station calls the next day. He was at that hotel in that car with that license plate. They picked him up, and the officer said that the family wanted to thank us. The extended family, the mother's family, and so they asked if they could give the mother's family our contact information. So the mother's family calls us and says, "Thank you so much. It's so amazing. Thank you so much for helping find him. Like, this has been really, really hard for us and intense for us. Is there anything we can do for you?" And we said, "Well, we're looking for a place to live in Philly." And they were like, "Well, there's a house, and it's full of all their stuff, and you're welcome to live there and have whatever you need and take whatever you want from the attic. We're going to have to just sell it all off anyway." And so we got a place to live. We got an abundance of things. We had cards, and I found all these old baseball cards in the attic with my stepbrothers that we sold to get our first pairs of Reebok pumps. And we were pretty poor, so it was wonderful to have this place to live in this home, and it was an incredible gift, and it had come from this woman and her ability to just see past the edges of what everybody else could see in reality. And so I had that seed planted, when I was 9 or 10. And then over the years, as I became very disgruntled with the sort of nature of uh, of reality, it was also that this gruntling was also paired with my stepmother passing away in a car accident. And I had just come back from India, and I arrived back to visit my dad to find out that she just died in a car accident along with my stepbrother's fiance, and that my stepbrother was in the hospital with critical injuries. And this threw me into like a deep challenge point in my life where I couldn't sleep. I was up all night. I wasn't sleeping at all. I decided to stay and go to school with my dad that semester in Missouri, and schools were terrible. And I was really just struggling with the questions about reality and what is this and what is truth and what is it all for and what the heck does it mean and what is God and what is spirit and what is all this stuff. This is all just like nobody knows. Nobody has these answers. Like this is all just a bunch of BS, and people just keep lying to me about this whole thing. And so I developed a really, really strong, challenging scientific mind to everything that I approached. And when I finally woke up to energy and I woke up to the reality of my energy body, I just dug into it like a scientist. I was picking it apart. How does it work? Finding the geometries, finding the elementals, finding the vibrational fields. And I started working and discovering all these realms of magic and all of these different perspectives on life and the world. But I found that the more I did, it was always like I'd get to an edge or a layer, a container of what I could see and what I could understand. And I knew there was something I didn't know yet. There was something that was more than what I could understand or more than what I could see. And it wasn't until moments when I was surrendered and opened myself up to listening deeper, to sensing the field, to hearing the teachings in nature, the teachings of spirit, and that I discovered new consciousness inside of me. What I like to call realization, coming into a greater awareness of reality. And these realizations would happen spontaneously. The word in Hindu is satori, where a lightning strike hits you and suddenly you just know. You just know. There's nobody that tells you, just know. And our dreams are a lot like that. They're just knowing. A lot of the deeper spiritual experiences we have as beings, we just know, we just understand, and we try to tell people, and that's where faith comes from, is like, well, you just got to believe in it, you just got to know. But the thing is that faith is a cultivation. Faith is something that happens through experience, through your experience of something, and your desire and your opening to connect with something. You then experience it, and then you gain faith in it. And so that is what I realized is really the path of the Starwalker. It's learning how to recognize that you don't know all the answers, you don't have all the truths, but you have to be open to them. You have to surrender yourself open to knowing more than you do now. And if you're willing to do that, you're going to experience incredible things. You're going to connect with spirits on the other side. You are going to open yourself up and meet galactic beings. You're going to develop telepathic capacities that you didn't even know you had, but you do. Everybody is telepathic. Everybody has the capacity to travel astrally with their minds. Everybody is already a lucid dreamer. You just haven't necessarily cultivated the awareness of that part of yourself, but you can, and you will. And I hope you'll join us in some of the adventures to explore the Starwalker realm. So let's see if any more comments and questions came in here.
Adam, I just want to say thank you for that. That was great.
Thanks, Alex. I really appreciate that so much.
David as well. Very inspired and proud to be alongside you two and sharing all this.
As am I, brother. Thank you. Thank you so much. So looks like we haven't had any other questions. People have been just listening deeply, and I really, really appreciate that. And so I'd like to just share a little bit more about Ring 1 and we'll wrap up the call because we're getting to the end here. So coming up here in ring 1, I just want to give you guys a little bit of introductory information. You can read this information if you go to the individual badges in the trail map and you look at the badges. They share these points, as well as if you go into the gatehouse. But some of what you can expect from ring 1. In the warrior field, you can expect to learn some of the secrets behind martial arts and all martial arts, and some of the inherent wisdom that's actually there underlying the surface that can unlock your special abilities in all kinds of different martial fields and movement fields. We're going to explore physical mastery, how to do it, and techniques used by athletes and Olympians, and ways to overcome physical and mental hurdles and really develop this mastery of your own body. In the Weaver field, we're going to unlock the keys to alchemy and balance, cultivating internal energy and vitality, developing your sex life and intimacy and sexuality, and really secrets to engaging in different relationships through understanding sexual orientation and your vibration within those fields. In the wizard field, we're going to look at the power of the mind in creating realities, secret formulas to create mental containers around things to shape and structure what it is that you're bringing into the world, and strategies for changing your patterns in your life. And we'll also be looking at some of the fundamentals of what real magic actually is and how to do it. In the healer field, we'll be exploring the heart and the art of healing itself, the keys to accessing coherence in relationships, and really in any interaction, and techniques for awakening your innate healing abilities that you already have. We'll also look at some of the tools and practices of the healer. The ambassador field will be looking at the magic of the spoken word and how powerful that is, and give you insights into conflict resolution, techniques for dealing with that, meditation, leadership, and ways to share more powerfully your personal message and truth as a messenger in the world. We'll also be looking at techniques for enhancing your communication abilities, both as a listener and as a giver. And in the Starwalker field, we're going to look at unlocking your third eye ability and your psychic abilities, practices, techniques for mastering your perception at higher levels, and the secrets of lucid dreaming and remote viewing. We're going to get into lucid dreaming and remote viewing in a lot more depth in courses this summer as we go into Ring 2. We have some specialists in that area that are going to come in and do some teaching. Helena Rea Violeta is working on some courses on lucid dreaming, walking the realms, and dream play shops. So we're very excited to have those. And we're also going to share tools for creating wards, protective fields, and portals to be able to connect with energy and information that may be in other locations to where you are. So that's going to be really exciting. I'm so stoked to get Ring 1 going and to have you guys coming into that. I'm just chomping at the bit and just writing like a madman and getting all the information in there because it's going to be an incredible course. So we'll do our best to have lots of really rich media for you guys, and we'll be cultivating those courses and releasing them very soon. And right now, you can go to the Gatehouse and you can get access keys for those. Again, those access keys are only going to be available at that level at their current prices this week, and then we're going to close it off. So anybody that you want to get in early now for this early pre-registration wave, now's the time to tell them to come and check it out. They can take the initiation course for free. They can check out the site, read our principles, figure out if they want to be a part of this thing. Because for us, it's like part of creating this community and creating this gate requires that we all make a commitment and a dedication to showing up. So part of the reason why we charge for Ring 1 courses at all is that, well, for one, besides self-sustainability, is that there's a barrier of entry that way. And the thing is like if you go and you show up on a site, how many people have YouTube videos up online where you can just go, you can look at the YouTube video, and you can comment whatever you want on that video. And so people don't invest any time to really exploring and checking out the videos. Some people just come in and they just start talking junk about the clothes you're wearing. They start talking about your mom and saying all of this horrible stuff about you. These are what we call trolls, and they're pretty common right now on the internet. So if you don't have any barrier of commitment or entry for people to come in, then you end up with a lot of people who are there and they don't really care about being there, and they're just going to say random stuff, and they're going to leave, and they're going to come back, and they're going to talk a lot of junk. But if you create a little bit of a barrier of entry, like even the cost of a dinner, for example, $30 or something, then people show up and they value it, and they're able to actually engage with other people that also value the program, and that want to be there, and that want to be involved, and that know it's worth it. And so that's really what we're creating here, is we want to create a space where people are really showing up, really getting present, and honoring each other and the value of what they're experiencing within the system. And if you're not into that, then this is not the place for you. If you want to just show up and just like fla-da-da, and show up, watch a little thing, talk a little junk, and be on your way, then there's plenty of other places for you to go explore that. This is a community. This is a connective field, and we recognize that every player in this connective field helps it to become what it is. We're inseparate from each other. So thank you so much, everyone who is here with us today, and I really love all of the amazing comments and everything that's being shared here, and I really, really appreciate everybody's input and questions today. It's just great, and I'm just so honored to be here with you, Alex and David, and just love you guys so much, and so stoked to be on this journey with you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's really an honor. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up. I did also want to just share that that in Ring 2 there are some pretty exciting things being worked on. Lady Kriana's working on some, she just sent me a huge, amazing map of some of the courses that she's going to share, from Tantric Kabbalah to working with the elements, ecstatic meditation, women's wisdom and sacred union. She's just got some amazing tantric courses and different energetic work courses that I'm really excited to share. Also, my friend Ryan Riff Parks is supposedly working on some courses. He runs Kung Flow, and he's created a program called Jedi Generation with the DJ EDI, and that's just great. He's part of the tribe and the Jedi family, and just a really amazing flow form artist. He's just incredible with the staff and the sword, and I'm really excited to have him come and share knowledge and wisdom about programming the mind and developing your superhero abilities. I've a few other friends working on courses yet, but because they haven't fully committed, I'm just going to give them some time before we announce them and what they're here to share. But I'm really excited about what's coming up in the pipeline. And I hope you guys get in the gatehouse, get some access keys this week, bring some people in, let them watch these videos, let them join the initiation course. Alex, David, any closing comments?
Well, in closing, I would just like to say I'm very grateful for all of you being here with us today. And I think that we're going to be making this a better planet one day at a time. That's all I have to say.
Very good, Alex. I'm really happy to have you here so much. I'm appreciative of everybody who has come and joined this course, and I am really looking forward to joining you all and having more great experience. Thank you.
So blessed to be a part of this. Yeah, thank you guys. Love your humor. Thank you all for joining. Yeah.
Yeah, thank everybody so very much. Thanks for being here, and we'll announce another live session soon. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the Alliance.